Dear students, now let's move to the selection criteria, and this is the fourth step of the establishment or implementation of our animal breeding and genetics program. Specifically, determining selection criteria is all about establishing a genetic model and estimating the breeding value for the ranking of the candidates for selection. First of all, you need to know that the criteria is the level of the trait that is established for the selection. Now, if you remember, before we define what is a genetic model, when we had to estimate the heritability through the method of analysis of variance and covariance, we use a genetic model, and I told you that I was to come on that in next courses. This is the right time to review this notion. So what is a genetic model and how is it established? So a genetic model is an equation that summarizes the relationship between the performance for which selection is being implemented, the average mean of the population, and now the variation factors that can be the genes, the genetic factors, that can be environmental factors of many others. Okay, now to better explain this, let's use a specific case study. The question is, or the assignment is, to determine the effect name small a is for additive, of an individual named Amanda on the body weight of the class. So what is the effect of a particular individual Amanda on the average body weight of the class if the parameter body weight is concerned? Now, that effect will be estimated, or is estimated, by making the difference of the body weight of the individual, okay, with that of the average body weight of the class. Let's note that the average body weight of a class is a constant. Why? Because it doesn't change for a particular time and in a particular space. Let's take an example. If the class is constituted with 10 individuals, as we move from one individual to the other, the body weight changes. But for the entire class, the mean remains the same for that particular class. Now, this equation is mathematically translated into this information, whereby you have the Pi is the body mass of the individual Amanda. Here P bar is the average mean of the class. It's a constant, and now we have small a, like the additive effect, that is the effect due to the genes only, because remember I told you that while selecting is always good to have, but the additive effect, because this effect is not influenced by the environment during the transmission to the offspring. Now this equation, when we translate it into the terms of a model, this equation becomes this, that is why EG is equal to mu plus, is equal to mu plus AI plus EIG. Fine. Now I want you to understand here that EIG here represent unexpected effects. That is, after we have considered the effect of the individual, if there is still any other variation, therefore that variation cannot be explained and is most of the time attributed to either non-permanent or permanent environmental conditions. Okay, now how do we relate the genetic model with the variance and even the standard deviation? Because don't forget that we are talking here about variation, so we have to link it with the variance. Now we saw that the equation gave this, and that small a, that is the effect that is being calculated, was equal to pi minus the average mean. Remember that each difference between a performance and the average mean is a deviation according to the mean. And what is a deviation according to the mean? That is the standard deviation. Now we'll make a changing of variable by calling this small a sigma small a, that is equal to this additive standard deviation, or deviation due to genetic effect. Now, considering that this is a standard deviation, what is the square of the standard deviation? It is the variance. So to have the variance, the additive variance, will just square the standard deviation. Very simple, right? Now we have examples of genetic models. The one we use for the estimate of the heritability through the variance and covariance method, where mu was the performance of the population, Si was the effect of the sire on the performance, and then Dig was the effects of the dams, and then this was the residual errors. We have many other examples like this other one, where YIDKL was representing the performance of local chicken in the western highlands of Cameroon, with mu the mean, Di the specific effect due to the genes, Sid the effect of the season and of the sex of the animal, and T the effect of the season. So you can follow these two publications for more. Now dear student, we are going to stop here for now. Thank you for watching, and hope you go through and through to master it before we meet for our next class.